Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're taking something you've probably seen at your local yoga studio and we're putting it under a massive clinical microscope. We're looking at Surya Namaskar, but we're tracking its evolution all the way from its ancient Vedic origins to its role right now as a modern clinical intervention. And hey, every single detail we're exploring today, it's anchored firmly in peer-reviewed science, leaning heavily on Prasanna Venkatesh's 2021 clinical breakdowns. We're going to see exactly how an ancient movement translates into actual physiological healing. Okay, let's dive into this. Based on the 2024 Netkai and Shogokar framework in the IJFMR, our roadmap today has 5 quick stops. 1. Introduction. 2. The 12 dynamic postures. 3. Impacts on biological systems. 4. Mechanisms of mind-body healing. And 5. Clinical indications. Let's get to it. Section 1. Introduction to Surya Namaskar, the traditional foundations, sourced from that 2024 IJFMR review. So, to really grasp the clinical side of things, we first need to define what this practice actually is. And we need to move way past the idea that it's just, a simple morning stretch to wake you up. According to the textbook Comprehensive Clinical Analysis, it's formally defined as a sadhana. Now, etymologically, Surya means the sun, but practically speaking, a sadhana is a highly disciplined, holistic psychophysiological practice. It's the whole shebang. It seamlessly weaves together physical postures, the asanas, with breathing techniques, or pranayama, plus sound vibrations and meditative awareness. The original traditional goal was literally to harmonize the human microcosm with the macrocosm of the solar cycle. Moving on to Section 2, the 12 dynamic postures. This is our step-by-step clinical guide drawn from the Journal of Clinical and Diagnostic Research. And this brilliantly illustrates our biomechanical starting point. Detailed by the Bihar School of Yoga and Pyramid Yogshala, we begin with Pranamasana, or the prayer pose. Now, notice the absolute strict focus on alignment here. You stand upright, feet together, weight perfectly balanced. The chest is expanded, and the palms are brought together. But, and this is key, the true foundation here isn't just standing still. Actually, scratch that. It's not about standing still at all. It's about a strict focus on breathing and concentration, kicking off the exact physiological rhythm you're gonna need for the rest of the sequence. From there, you flow seamlessly right into the second pose, Hasta Uttanasana, the raised arms pose. You lift your arms up and back, keeping the spine straight. What's absolutely crucial here, and you'll see this highlighted everywhere in modern clinical literature, is the exact synchronization of your breath with the movement. The spinal extension is perfectly coordinated with a deep inhalation. You are literally physically expanding your thoracic cavity and absolutely maximizing your oxygen intake. Let's move along and see how this builds across the full 12-step sequence. Research from the Ignited Minds journals maps out this incredibly rhythmic, cyclical flow. From that raised arm pose, you sweep downward into padhastasana, touching your feet. Then you step back into a lunge called Ashwasanchalanasana, move into the V-shaped parvatasana, and it just keeps flowing. Through each cycle, you are systematically flexing and extending the spine. And traditionally, each of these 12 steps gets paired with specific bija, or seed mantras. Think of phrases like Om Mitrayaya Namah. This adds a layer of focused sonic vibration directly on top of the biomechanical movement. It's a total mind-body synchronization. All right, Section 3, Impacts on Biological Systems. This is a systemic review coming from the 2023 IJCRT. So what is actually happening inside your body during this rhythmic flow? Well, studies from the World Journal of Pharmaceutical and Medical Research, along with the IJCRT, show this practice penetrates all the way down to the cellular level. Just look at the sheer breadth of systems affected here. In your respiratory system, it significantly improves lung function metrics like FEV1. That's your forced expiratory volume. In your circulatory system, massive systemic oxygenation. It even wakes up your digestive organs, boosting peristalsis and gut motility. And psychologically, this is wild. Studies with adolescents show it actively drives away depression, slashes anxiety, and measurably improves emotional maturity. No wonder you feel a literal physiological reset after just a few rounds. Focusing heavily on the anatomical science now, what Ayurveda calls Rachana Sharir, an anatomical analysis from the IJFMR breaks down the precise muscular engagement. Surya Namaskar is a brilliant multi-planar movement therapy. It completely engages both your axial and your appendicular skeleton. We're talking spinal extensors and multifidus in the back, deltoids and triceps in the arms, hamstrings and quads in the legs, and it deeply engages core stabilizers like your abdominals and diaphragm. It is, without a doubt, a highly efficient, comprehensive musculoskeletal workout. Section 4, Mechanisms of Mind-Body Healing. Here, we're comparing ancient wisdom versus modern science as explored in the IJFMR. Now, what's really interesting about this is comparing the how. How does it do all this? It is fascinating how beautifully ancient wisdom lines up with modern neuroendocrinology. According to clinical reviews, including a major study on emotional maturity, Ayurveda says this practice balances the tridoshas, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, and activates the Pingala Nadi. That's the solar energy channel that boosts the body's vitality. Modern science? It observes the exact same outcomes, just using totally different vocabulary. Clinically speaking, this practice creates parasympathetic dominance, meaning it turns on your rest and digest mode, and it effectively regulates your hypothalamic pituitary adrenal, or HPA axis. Let's translate a defining quote directly from the International Journal of Multidisciplinary Research. So, your HPA axis, that's your body's primary stress response system. When you're constantly stressed out, your HPA axis is just in overdrive. It spikes your cortisol levels, which messes with your immune function and totally throws off your emotional balance. By getting into the rhythmic breathing and mindful movement of Surya Namaskar, you are literally rewiring those exact stress response pathways. You bring physiological arousal down, you drop cortisol levels right back to baseline, and you completely restore systemic balance. It's like hitting a reset button for your brain and body. Finally, Section 5, Clinical Indications and Applications. Based on findings in Curious and Joshi et al. 2022, who should actually be prescribed this? So the crucial point here is that Surya Namaskar is not just a fitness routine anymore. A 2022 study by Joshi and colleagues, plus research in Curious and the IGFMR, are actively pointing to this as a targeted therapeutic intervention. Doctors are looking at prescribing it for managing musculoskeletal disorders and for physical rehabilitation, mostly because it's so low impact but highly strengthening. It's even being studied alongside millet diets as an effective tool for type 2 diabetes to help lower glucose levels. Plus, it's highly indicated for stress conditions, tackling obesity, and easing premenstrual syndrome symptoms. It's basically become this incredible, evidence-based, non-pharmacological tool for total holistic health. Which brings us to a really profound realization, one that's echoed a lot in current integrative physiology research. Look, we are facing a global epidemic of lifestyle-related disorders right now, and purely reactive medical models, they're showing their limits. So think about this. If an ancient 12-step movement therapy can measurably regulate our stress hormones, dramatically improve our lung capacity, and literally rehabilitate our musculoskeletal system, how might it completely reshape our modern preventative healthcare paradigm? It's a massive question, and it leaves us with so much more to explore in the amazing world of integrative medicine. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer today. Keep